Several years ago, I had to drive to Del Rio, Texas for work. Del Rio is a small town in West Texas that's right on the border with Mexico. It's about a 2.5 hour drive from where I live. It's all on highways, but it is all through rural areas and pretty small towns. I had just recently bought the Falkenbach album that this song is on, but I hadn't listened to it yet. I put it in my truck's CD player for the drive, thinking this would be a pretty good chance to listen to it a few times while I was on the road. I spent most of the day in Del Rio and started on the drive back home late that afternoon. The weather had been fine that morning, although pretty cold, but not long into my drive home, the weather started getting pretty bad and it was sleeting. That probably still would have been okay, except that the defroster in my truck had just stopped working a few days ago. That meant that even with my windshield wipers on at full blast, water was slowly freezing across my entire windshield and limiting my visibility. I did the only thing I could think of to do, which was to put one hand up against a spot on the windshield for a couple minutes at a time and just keep that spot warm enough not to freeze and kind of make a little hole through the ice that I could see through. Then I would just move my hand up slightly higher or slightly to the right or left to keep putting those kind of holes in the ice that I could look through. Um, I still had Falkenbach playing that entire time. Now, on an ordinary trip, probably would have eventually gotten tired of it and switched to something else, but I didn't dare try to mess with the music while I got one hand on the steering wheel and the other against the windshield the entire way with it sleeting on me. So this is normally a 2.5 hour drive, but that time was about a 4 hour drive home since I was driving something like 20 miles per hour to feel safe. For y'all outside of the U.S., that's about 32 kilometers per hour. Luckily, in one of the small towns I passed through, I found an open gas station, and there I was able to get a scraper and some antifreeze to pour all over my windshield. So from that point on, I didn't have to keep my hand on the windshield anymore, but I did have to stop every 10 minutes or so to get out and just clear it all off the windshield again. But basically, I listened to this Falconback album on repeat over and over and over for about 4 hours of a very dangerous drive, and I will always associate every song in this album with that trip.